Hello, welcome to the July American Medical Extended Reality Association monthly member meeting. I'm your host, Mark Zhang, the president of the American Medical Extended Reality Association. It's July. We do this monthly meeting every month. Typically, it's on usually the third Wednesday of the month. This month, we're doing it actually on the Thursday. And the format is one where we do some announcements for American Medical Extended Reality Association. And then, depending on the kind of audience and those who are able to join, we'll have time for a open discussion. Uh, it's been something of a quiet month, so I don't anticipate too many announcements. But let's get started while people join if they do. Rick, I see you here. Thanks for joining. We'll open it up for discussion after a quick round of kind of announcements. As always, if you'd like to join the live stream during the open discussion, please let me know in the chat. Also, try to do a round in the event. It does work the best on desktop. So if you're on the platform, the AMXRA platform, and want to participate in the open discussion, it's best if you use your computer. Also, over the last couple of months, we've actually been posting these monthly member meetings live. Sorry, not live. We've been posting them on the YouTube channel. So you just have to be aware if you join the open discussion that this will get posted on YouTube and also probably reposted on LinkedIn on the LinkedIn website as well. All right, let's go do the announcements. And then, we have no AMXRA member presentation this month. We'll just go into open forum and we'll go from there. So let's do announcements. So just a quick announcement. We are doing our second cohort of the Fellows of Medical Extended Reality program for 2027. And the applications will open in August. So please check the AMXRA main feed. We'll likely have more details come the August monthly member meeting, but just be on the lookout. FMXR, Fellow of Medical Extended Reality applications will be open in August. It's a wonderful program. It's reviewed by your peers. And really, the purpose of the Fellow of Medical Extended Reality designation is really to have a title and a designation for members who have contributed to the field of medical extended reality. And at a high level, the requirements are not changing from the first year. So you have to at least have 2 years as a full member of the American Medical Extended Reality Association, and also show how you've contributed to the field of medical XR. So if you meet those criteria, I would highly encourage you consider applying during the open season in August. So more to come, but I wanted folks to know that is on the way. And we'll likely plan on doing another FMXR kind of award ceremony at probably VMed next year. Although that hasn't been finalized yet, I'm just assuming we'll likely do it at VMed. So, okay. As I kind of mentioned earlier, AMXRA has a YouTube channel and also a LinkedIn presence. So for those that may not know, it's at the YouTube channel is at the AMXRA. You can probably just search on YouTube AMXRA. And a lot of the content on the YouTube channel also gets posted on LinkedIn and also gets posted on the AMXRA feed. You can see many of the shorts from Augmented World Expo, along with our monthly member meetings, are also posted there as well. So just if you're interested, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel or check out the shorts. I still need to post them on LinkedIn and the AMXRA website. So hopefully that'll be coming in the next week or so, and hopefully this will just be one of the things that we'll continue to do as future kind of events kind of come forward. We'll try and go do booth tours and show some of the cool stuff happening to the medical extended reality community. But I would highly suggest taking a look at the booth tours from Augmented World Expo. There's some really cool stuff there. There was some really cool stuff there. Okay, speaking of events, tracking in October, Augmented Enterprise Summit is happening in Atlanta. I think I'll be there. So not finalized yet, but I think most likely I'm going to try and be there on behalf of AMXRA and provide an overview and booth tours and the like. So October 13th through the 15th, AES. I am still working to see if we can get some type of a value deal for AMXRA members. Nothing yet, but more to come. That is it. That's what I got for the announcements this month. It's kind of a shorter month. We got a good crew here, so we're going to open it up for open discussion. As usual, please let me know in chat. I'm just going to assume, Rick, I'm going to invite you, Rick, and Mark, Alan. I'm assuming you guys want to come on as well. Is that? Let's see here. Yep. Okay, great. So let's get you in. Invite. All right. Hello, Rick. How are you?
Good. You?
Oh, I'm okay. I'm kind of recovering from the AWE and a little bit of travel. Mark, good to see you. Nice to
Yeah,
see you.
same here.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess we're waiting on Alan, but while we do this, why don't we do a round of intros? I'm just going to go from who I see. Alan, good to see you. Rick, why don't you introduce yourself and what do you do?
Yeah, hi, Rick Bieberman, CEO, co-founder of CIRA Medical. We develop augmented reality software for preoperative planning, patient education, resident training. We're a spin-out from the University of California, San Francisco, where we have participated in over 150 surgeries.
Very cool. And also, Rick, you continue to be the longest standing participant of the monthly member meetings. I
Yeah,
think outside of myself, you are clearly the survivor. You've done it.
I clearly enjoy these meetings and get something out of them. So thank you, Mark, and thank you to Alan and Mark Lambert as well.
Well, excellent. All right, Alan, thanks for joining. Please introduce yourself and what do you do?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, you're kind of a little. You're not super. You seem
Oh,
like you're a little hard to hear, but
okay, hold
try.
on. Let me fix this.
Oh, that's a little. That's better. That's better. Yeah.
Okay. I am Alan. I'm the founder of Studio Bahia. We're a nonprofit. We manufacture Lily VR kits, and we manufacture thousands of those, sell them to hospitals, and then we also do all sorts of projects for universities. We help universities, academics with their limited budgets, do projects like early detection of Alzheimer's, dementia, with Stanford, depression screenings with IIT Hyderabad. The largest digital therapeutics study in the US, 10-minute intervention for people with depression with Northwestern University. We help any university help set up a lab and just get them up and running and that sort of thing, just as a nonprofit. But we mostly serve, we started in refugee camps. And so for each sale we do to hospitals of our LiveVR kits, which is right here, we then donate one to low-income hospitals, clinics. This is our team. And veterans coming out of jail. foster care kids. And so this summer and this year, we're focusing on just, we have, with the Air Force, we're going to trial an EMDR. So we developed small language models. We've been training small language models. So they work autonomously. So we do low resource settings like refugee camps, and so we do an ART, EMDR, and EMDR for complex PTSD. So in the
Cool.
trial, okay, I'll stop there. But yeah, we're doing the trial in September at the largest burn unit in the country. And my theory was that if we treat people in the peri-traumatic stage, so 2 to 3 sessions within 72 hours, we can reduce PTSD by 85–90%. We're gonna try and see
Sounds
if that
good.
happens.
Well,
That's
thank
me.
you, Alan. Mark, why don't you introduce yourself and what do you do?
Yeah. Mark Lambert, COO of Lighthouse XR. And we've been, I guess, 6 years, 8 years now, developing substance use disorder programming in VR and working, with the VA, but also with community clinics, treatment courts, a wide variety of people.
Well, excellent. Well, thank you all for joining. I feel like July is something of a lull time, right? I'm still kind of in the afterglow of AWE processing. It's been a little bit slower, I would say, but what's on everyone's mind? What's top of mind when it comes to medical XR? How's everyone feeling? How are things? Anything exciting or looking forward to as we move into the fall and the busier times, I would say?
I would just actually, for us being in more of a production world right now, we actually have been bouncing off the walls, going crazy with the Fable release from Claude.
Tell me more, Mark. Well, how does that, what's the implication for production?
So we have roadmaps for patient facing, and that's why, Alan, it was interesting to hear what you're doing in the EMDR space and and things. But for us, it's mostly in production and back office. So we already have a RAG, a database where all your information goes for everything from ordering and SOPs, but also like all of the content of our production. And then we tie into it with an AI so we basically Fable came out, which is a next level AI. And so we were seeing how it would interact with this data, with this database and stuff. And it's been really fun the last couple of weeks to just sort of deep dive until the wee hours of the night with something that's giving us much better responses, and we can look at some for us, our content, we can go through it and look at it with Fable from a clinical viewpoint as well. Are we missing things because we have certain goals and targets, and see where we can improve. So clinically, that was able to sort of point out, you mentioned this over here, but you never reinforced it in the review or something. So even small things, but then technically also, it's really helped us. So that's I don't know if anybody else has played in the Fable world, but
Yeah, I have a quick question, Mark. That's really fascinating. So you basically let Fable go through all your folders, all your content.
So we use Fable, we use Claude and Claude Code to support Unity development. We don't open up our folders to it, so it goes into the we use a thing called cursor and markup files. It's one way to create something like this, and so that's its protected thing, but we're not it's not able to sort of see the whole computer.
Oh, we use Manus out of Singapore, um, and we just let it run through all our files, and it goes, and then it just extracts from projects we've done or doing, and then it just runs wild with production. It just is a monster. It's used mostly for small, medium-sized businesses in the United States. Not something normal people use manuals, but it's currently in a tug of war because the Chinese government doesn't want to let it go and met a body. And it's being fought out between the Chinese government and the American in a tug of war. But it's out of Singapore. It came out of Chinese startup. But
I don't think I've seen that one. How do you spell that?
MANUS.
Okay.
It was you can see a lot of people. It's a monster, and well, I'm about to let it loose on Shopify because it now has a feature where it goes into our website. It'll just scan the whole thing and just make it 10 times more efficient. You know, I've already learned everything about Shopify, how it works for a product and shipping and all that. But I use it every day, and I use American AI just for like writing stuff. So we mostly focus on small language models and things. The Chinese and the Indians and the rest of the world are in a hybrid approach to AI, where they build Chinese language models, small language models, large language models, and then the Americans do this very centralized data center approach, which I think is not great design. Personally, I'm not going to get into it, but I'll give you one example. You buy a Tesla in China, it comes with DeepSeek embedded in it. And if the electricity goes out, things fall apart. The car still drives you home. But about 3 months ago here in the US, the lights went out in San Francisco. And all these Waymo cars stopped and blocked off the whole city, created this huge problem all of this. So it blocked off all the streets and just created havoc. And so the American approach is very dependent. And that's kind of Wall Street, you know, doing a rent-seeking philosophy where they want to be dependent on that centralized kind of data center. But the Chinese hybrid means that if you buy the Tesla, it comes with DeepSeek in the car. So that thing keeps going. Even if there's no 5G, there's no electricity and everything's falling apart. I think the American approach is that. In Wall Street design approach for the rent-seeking approach. And I think they're going to drive off a cliff, but it's me. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I didn't realize DeepSeek had a local model, I think is what you're trying to say, right? Like, is that what you're trying to say?
Long before DeepSeek was famous, every academic, say in Stanford, around the country that was doing high-level research, they would download DeepSeek into their laptop because they didn't want their biochemistry or physics or whatever study they were doing. So it did not connect to Wi-Fi. So DeepSeek was famous at Stanford and other places like 6 months before it blew up all over the world. You know, when it blew up all over the world, people were like, so before that, academics were downloading it into their laptop, cutting off Wi-Fi internet so that it would do your work without letting the world know about your work.
Yeah.
You know, you remember those Samsung engineers that started playing open?
Right. They were letting out their corporate secrets using ChatGPT.
Exactly. Because once you let it into like Claude, it becomes part of that monstrous amount of data. But if DeepSeek you can download it. And the Germans came over, took DeepSeek and made it 60% more efficient. But those are German firms, you know, typical Germans, right? They took it and then it's a monster now with the amount of people making a business and improve the real community.
I don't know much about that specifically, but definitely I would say the local models are becoming pretty interesting. You know, in this kind of in this downtime, I've certainly been playing around with yeah, I think it's which one is it? Gemma, the small model, the Gemma 4 like 2EB or something, E2B. And it's pretty good, right? Like, and it's the ability to be able to just run it on your like laptop, even a pretty low powered one, is pretty useful. It'll be interesting to see how, particularly in kind of security minded kind of industries like healthcare, how local models could be leveraged to enable, like, you know, some of these scenario situations where you don't need a connection, right? It could be an all-in-one kind of solution to have a conversational kind of avatar kind of scenario that's fully secure, right? Because it
Yeah,
just never
it'll have
phones
to
home. It's
stay,
very interesting.
it'll have to stay on device.
On
would
device.
say,
But to
yeah,
to the point though, you know, these these models are small enough that they can work using cellular cell phones, right? Like
yeah.
cell phone technology.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Well, we're
like
building
so I
that.
mean the processor. The processor can be a cell phone processor.
We're
And
using a small language model in a mobile phone in VR, Google Cardboard, and it is regulating the binaural movement while the voice is a small language model standalone. So we're that's what we specialize in building this. But I tell people in healthcare that, look, every equipment in a hospital should have a battery with a small language model. Because if the Wi-Fi goes out, the electricity goes out, you don't want the patient to die, right? So it has to be built into every equipment, and it efficiency level raises the efficiency level of any equipment. It's a thing. It's a risk assessment. You do a basic
yeah.
risk assessment in a hospital, like the Wi-Fi goes, the internet goes, the electricity goes, the generator goes. How many people would die if the generator is something? You have to think about that, right? You
Yeah,
know,
well, and even beyond that, I think some small language models that we've considered or you know might look at, the idea of review, you know, I mean, it's a much easier thing to design something that then can be, you know, if you're going to an FDA or somebody else, it's going to be easier to potentially map out,
Hmm.
you know, the model itself because you're designing it in a simpler way. You're having
sure.
it do something simple. It's an agent,
Yeah.
and so because you're keeping it simple, you're not having to explain a larger, you know, system that you're embedded in. You're explaining something simpler, and the FDA or other places that need to see the pathways may be more open to, you know, it may get you through easier.
Yeah.
That's a guess, but you know
Maybe.
that's one of the reasons why I've looked at it.
Yeah, and certainly the testing and external testing, security, usability testing, et cetera, would be much simpler, much
Yeah,
easier for sure.
yeah. So I mean, I think it's really cool, Alan, what you guys are doing because that's you know, I don't think there's many people as will be doing, you know, putting in that, you know, taking the small language model approach. And yet
yeah,
it's the most feasible one in many ways because of I mean, we don't connect to Ethernet with our device, you know, and that's been because of security, you know, and even if we do connect, we don't want to offload the compute necessarily. It's more for data, you know, basically moving some reporting aspects in and out, but not to offload to edge compute.
yeah. The U.S. Air Force asked for our small language model and mobile phone for a little text file so that they know that soldiers are doing the therapy. So we created a tiny little thing that drops onto a phone that is just texting time, how long they did it. And when they come back from the field, because field hospitals are conflict zones, we present that to the therapist, his office, sections are there. But it's so tiny, doesn't add up very much. But um, yeah, no, I think they're wonderful. And it's so easy to train for the NDR, it's limited, it's all the constraints fall in. So that's what, you know, that's what the only thing that they have to say is that if you ask it, because DMVR is procedural, if you ask it, it's not going to tell you anything about the, you know, the size of the meeting. It just doesn't, this is a constrained approach. It is a delicate outfit. I love them. And the West, I was thinking of India. They love doing them. They're using them for enterprise. I think there's so much business opportunity. Developing small and just, you know, if you look at it a year ago, I was in a conference and they told me a small language model was the equivalent to open factory 3.5 with 6 billion crafts. And I'm like, this is a huge amount of power that's inside of it.
Yep.
It can do it could be so much with, you know, when I'm talking about small language, it's equivalent to 3.5, which is huge. You could run the state of California if you ask me with that size model. It's that powerful. Like you could run all the streetlights in California. 6 billion parameters is just a massive amount of power. So, and they're getting, IBM came out with some small language models right now. In the last year, a bunch of American firms have come out with them. So, I think there's a lot of business opportunity. I tell friends, you know, you could set up, look at the Indians. So I was in India and they have all these different types of businesses and they're building enterprise for those using small language models. So running your whole accounting, running your whole operations, the operations side of your business. So I think and you own it. You basically own it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Rick, you've been very quiet. How are things in your neck of the woods?
That's good. Like Mark, we recently rebuilt one of our applications using Claude Code and Unity, which we're excited about. We anticipate doing something similar, you know, once we get our hands on Aura and on specs. We'll see how that goes. I mean, we're very excited about those two products, specs especially for us. And we're just hoping that it will allow us to do what we currently do with HoloLens, which is rapidly coming to a close. So we'll see once the specs are distributed if they can allow for true hologram manipulation. So that's
Is there a developer, like, are you on a developer kind of wait list for specs, or there is? Okay. I just saw actually they have a dedicated individual specifically for enterprise sales and growth, which is encouraging.
We spent some time with Wayne Scalino at AWE. I know they're looking to hire a healthcare dedicated enterprise person. So you know, looking forward to meeting that individual. Assuming they've made that hire or are going to make that hire. So it seems like you know, there's a commitment to enterprise, which is great. I think at the price at $2,200, I think you have to have, you know, per specs. I think you kind of need enterprise there. I mean, that's tough pricing on the consumer side. So we'll you know, we'll see. You know, they're anticipating distributing in the fall, and as I say, fingers crossed that it will give us what HoloLens currently does.
Well, I'm just looking up, excuse me, I'm just looking up specs. I think I'd seen it in my, feeds and things like that. The compute on that, where is that being, are they doing a puck or
Puck.
the mobile or?
Yeah, it's a puck.
Oh, it's a puck.
I
On
believe so.
specs.
Hold on.
I thought it was
Nope.
all in one, which is why it's like so kind of thick.
Let's look it up.
I think the specs, it's a puck. It's not a puck. I think it's all in one. But they do have the ability to. It seems like they have, if I remember correctly, they enable a display pass through or some type of connection to like you can mirror your your computer or your phone as one of the virtual windows. I don't know if that's a direct cable or if it's wireless. But,
no, that's you're right. You're right, Mark. It's all in one. I got it mixed up with Aura, which I think is a separate puck. But yeah, it's all it's all in one. All in one piece. They're planning on selling it for multiples of Aura. So we'll see at that price. We're assuming it has has the capabilities of a headset priced similarly.
So
right?
it's interesting you bring this up because I actually was just having dinner with a colleague in the XR healthcare space, a developer, and he's the third person in the month of July now that had we were talking about kind of AI tools for helping work through his backlog of kind of tasks he wanted to accomplish in his application, and also that his surgical kind of use case was also HoloLens based. And we were talking about these new kind of headsets, Project Aura or now XRA Aura, and I think we might have talked about specs, but really what the thing he brought up, which is interesting, which maybe Rick you may know, his main question about it was, is there a depth sensor, and what level kind of access to the cameras will these devices provide? So I mean, that's still the unknown question, right? Because without the depth sensor, it really limits, the one-to-one from HoloLens.
Yeah. I mean, HoloLens has 6 or 7 different cameras. On it. So we'll see. We'll see. As I say, at $2,200 a pop, it should be a fairly versatile headset. I'm guessing. Yeah.
Well, you should please let us know. I think that's a little bit. I'm very interested to see how specs goes. In many ways, I think the vision is correct, and I'll be interested to see how people use it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're excited about the general direction of headsets, the lighter form factor for sure. We're hoping that with something like specs, you'd have many more surgeons interested in putting them on, say more than once or twice, that they could wear them regularly, and then ultimately use holographic models to plan and perform surgery.
Yeah. It's certainly an interesting time. What else is on people's minds? I think I kind of prefaced this meeting by saying it's something of the doldrums of summer, and I truly mean it. I feel like there's just not that much that's happened. I think there's been some really interesting kind of movement, I would say, in the business of medical XR. I think I posted recently, XR Health has been on an acquisition kind of spree, and I think they acquired another company very recently. And I think while we're in this transition zone, new kind of consumer products, new enterprise solutions, kind of in the on the horizon. Pico has a solution coming out, and there are likely others. it's just a very interesting transition zone, right? Like there's rumors about, maybe it's been confirmed, Apple Vision Pro's Lite model has been discontinued. So that's unclear where that is moving. And certainly, my gosh, what is the name of the company? The original, one of the Magic Leap. It seems like they're moving away from their enterprise kind of hardware and becoming more of an AR technology, like waveguide technology company moving forward. So we're just in a very interesting transition zone. Lenovo is out of the enterprise kind of game as well. HTC somehow continues to survive and is now something of an AR maybe AR is the wrong term, but a smart glasses company, it sounds like, from their current product. We're in an interesting time for sure.
What I didn't make it out to AWE, and I'll have to watch I always love your videos. I loved it when you did it at IBRA. But the Pico you just mentioned, I mean, what do you hear? What, that's one of our platforms. We're Pico and Quest. I mean,
So I had the opportunity to try Swan on at an event here in San Francisco a couple of months ago. Still a headset.
So wait, Rick, are you on? And I just want to make sure. Can you share what you could say about Swan?
Look, they had it at AWE as well. There's nothing here I'm going to disclose that is.
Okay.
Okay, I'll stop. No, I was just going to say, look, it's comfortable. It's light. You've seen pictures of it though. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a headset.
I haven't put it. Yeah, it's one of those. I haven't put it on, so or demoed or anything like that. So I'm curious, but can wait to.
And it's not it's not AR. It's not a see-through device. So it's not of strong interest for an organization like Sera Medical. But I can see, again, given how given the weight, battery life, etc., I can see a number of people being interested in using it and replacing their existing fully immersive VR headsets.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. I don't know what I can say, but I will say that there was just a lot of really interesting, outside of the extra auras and the like kind of at AWE. What I found interesting is that there were so many other kind of variants coming into the mix. I truly think I mentioned this the last time we met, but my sense is that we are in this interesting kind of in between kind of time, right?
Yeah.
Like it's between the fish and the salamander. It's the fish with legs. Transition zone. So we're seeing these permutations of kind of AR glasses that maybe a little bit more, or VR glasses that are getting very, very light to the point that they're essentially the form factor of a near AR, right? And that's a pretty interesting place that we're seeing. And what I thought was very fun and fascinating about AWE are the additional kind of new use cases for smart glasses with displays and without. So I believe, oh my gosh, what company was it? One of the smart glass companies, I believe, did a partnership with NVIDIA, and they were creating essentially a Meta Ray-Ban type kind of glasses, so like camera glasses, no display. And sound, but for the lab. And I thought that was very cool, right? So they looked more like protective glasses.
Was that Dell?
That
was Dell.
Sorry?
That was Dell. Wasn't that Dell?
I think it might have been Dell.
Yeah.
I think it was NVIDIA, Dell, and oh my gosh, what was the glasses? What was the actual it wasn't XReal or Rokid. It was another kind of company in the space.
Right. I mean, I thought the use case for that was really interesting, where they were recording lab experiments because no one could reproduce a lab experiment. And so now they were recording everything with the glasses, which I thought was just super, super interesting.
It's
And
kind of a new form of a body cam.
yeah, that's what it is.
Something of a body
That's
cam.
exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like record standard procedures, but also, it also was able to essentially live stream. So you could have that kind of a second person kind of watching from afar to guide the technician to do, X, Y, and Z. Very interesting stuff.
Mark, putting you in the Wayback Machine. I mean, I always love to geek out on surgical procedures that are later taken into some type of a 4D splat thing, and that actually would be something that you could, if the procedure, the most important information is the information from the from the surgeon's viewpoint, and then you supplement that. I still think one of these days we'll build this. You supplement that. That's giving you high value information, and then you supplement that with additional cameras, and then build your splat from that.
Oh yeah, I think you're totally right. And actually, I think that's it just goes back to my sense that we're in this interesting kind of transition space. I think a couple of years, 2 AWEs ago, I remember seeing the Gracia team, and like I think splats were becoming more and more kind of feasible from a data kind of compression, and it's just getting even more so. So I saw them again this year at AWE, and their compression algorithm was such that now they're able to stream at a pretty convincing level, right? And you combine that with cheaper and cheaper kind of capture devices, and I think we're just, I think a clear project that someone should do in some scale, whether it's a small proof of concept or potentially larger, is exactly what you're saying, Mark. Build a library of procedures spatialized, right? And not 360, not 180, but truly kind of as high fidelity as we can, create like full splat kind of 3D kind of procedure library. I think that would be very, very interesting, very cool.
Well, and particularly if it was a Walter Reed or some institution which could open source that.
We should do it, Mark.
And then the people that are building customized training.
I mean, I'm only kind of joking, but like seriously, I think that this is like it's a really fascinating and I think a high value kind of use case, right? Like what are the books of the 21st century? I think there's a good argument that like the next generation is 3D video, right? Like totally immersive Gaussian splat kind of depth video. I don't know what the terminology is, but like
they're building those in WebXR right now. You can wander an ever expanding game. And a lot of those might be, the idea is that those would be new splats that your AI engine is building for you, so that you can walk into a new room and it's built for you, or something happens. But the problem with that is that's the AI creating it, and I think that we still have a use case that the AI should never create, and that's where I think that's what we're talking about. But the engines are being fueled by the game people, and the training people can take advantage of it this time.
Yeah, like a high fidelity procedure library, right? Or actually, a Scaniverse, but for medical objects would also be pretty interesting as well, like in a smaller kind of piece of that. I'm having some connection issues, so hopefully this is still working for you guys. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah,
you're fine.
I was just hearing,
maybe it's just on my end then.
These people from the NHS were at night some years back. During the pandemic, they had to come up with a way to train all these residents, so they put these high-definition cameras. They go around the world training surgeons.
Yeah,
I've met them a couple of times, and I had an email with them, email thread with them that lasted about 2 years, and we had like 400, right? 400. So they kept bringing in the doctors, and I kept bringing in our people. It was like a collaborative knowledge educational email thread. But what I wanted to do with them is to have a provided mobile PR, the 360 camera. So the way they do surgery is that it's like, you know, the broadcaster at the football game has got a bunch of cameras, and you're kind of looking at from different angles. So that's how they merge perspective. You can see up there the hand from this side in high resolution, which is the pandemic. And you have about 400 productions. And I said, okay, look, you're wonderful with doing great travel. But we have half the world lives in rural areas. And so how do we get these things people? If we work with us, we can get a library through mobile app and you download one at a time. It's pretty tough. With high resolution. You know, Mark must know about this. You have a high resolution from different angles, all bunched into one. But we were able to condense them down to like 160 megabytes with a high resolution, with very, very good resolution. So now I just need to raise some funds to get all of the NHS 360 into mobile PR and housed in an AWS data center somewhere. But the point of it is train doctors in rural areas with the most up-to-date training. And so they would just choose one, download it, and we can put it on the headset, mobile, Google Cardboard. But I wasn't able to raise the funds for that one. Nobody wanted to, it's so complicated to sell this to people, you know what I mean? They're like, what? American philanthropy, at least. Now, if I make a presentation on AI, they look at it, it just goes right over their head. But that one is a project, I'd love to do that one because I think it would be great. We put it in panning mode, and you can see the different camera views, but in a without using VR. Just go like this. So we do the panning mode option, which are awesome. Laying bed if they don't want to do VR. Yeah, I need I have like $50,000 in AWS credits, so I should still about. But that would be probably 20 grand to do that.
Sorry, Alan, I'm having like a lot of trouble hearing you. I don't know if that's like, yeah, I'm not sure what's going on.
Probably me. We've had tornado warnings here in San Antonio.
Yeah.
Probably me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure, but yeah, sorry, yeah. But I think what you were talking about was VRIMS, which is I think it's the actually I believe he's an AMXRA member, and I think a head ear, nose, and throat doctor potentially. I want to say in the UK, and has created essentially a library of 180 kind of procedure videos, and they're local. I think he's using kind of I want to say Quest, or maybe I think it's agnostic, since they're essentially 180 videos. They're pretty high quality. And he's kind of created a pathway to sync the video, I believe, across many viewers at the same time, and has done courses across the UK, but also across kind of I believe countries in Africa and India and other places, which is pretty cool. But my sense is that there's always going to be a place for, I think, 180 video and that type of library. I think the interesting kind of next frontier is going to be depth, like true spatial 3D
Yeah.
high fidelity.
Yeah.
Well, depth and multi-user, I mean,
Multi-user.
yeah, it's like we go to the game place and go around and shoot, 6 people go into an arena and kill the monster. But instead of that,
Correct.
we're 6 people are going into the arena and,
The
and
arena is
perform.
an operating room, and
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter if you're in Syracuse, if you're in London, if you're in Singapore, you could all come in and you're co-located in the same virtual space, seeing the world expert in thyroid surgeries, do their job, right, in high fidelity at any time. That's a pretty interesting opportunity for sure.
Put that in and
They tried to do that. That tried to do that out of Japan.
Yeah, there are people doing it. There are people doing it now.
Yeah.
And the training, the training vertical is one of the more successful verticals, I think, within healthcare. There's strong interest in it.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of people more than happy to wear virtual reality headsets and learn from it and be immersed in it. And for folks in the space like also VR, and see be interesting to see how they develop and whether they do some of the things you suggest, Mark, in terms of how they develop their product. We'll see, but it's a pretty successful space between also and some of the other folks out there. Proximity, I think, is also doing some of this stuff with remote access to surgeries and the like.
Yeah. But is Proximity doing so? I think the big divide at this point, and again, I'm not tracking nearly as close as I probably should, but at last I checked with a lot of the, let's call them the kind of leaders in this field, I would say a lot of the training relies on, it's like a pick two, like, there are 3 features, pick 2, right? So you want co-location, a lot of them can do that. You want the ability to have a library of procedures, a lot of them do that, but then they're going to rely on, high quality 3D characters and 3D kind of assets, but not Gaussian splat, not actual.
Right. That's right. So as I say, that's so Mark, that's my sense of it as well. It's still pretty basic.
Yeah.
But we'll see how the OSSOs of the world kind of move, and whether they move in the direction of doing some sort of Gaussian.
I think to me that's the exciting thing, and it doesn't even have to be interactive. I mean, I think it's really like just back to Etherdome ethics, right? Like or not ethics, that's the wrong word, but the kind of concept of having a documenting for posterity and for future generations how in like super high fidelity how to do a procedure, right? In the way that a master surgeon could do it, or a proceduralist will do it.
And for me, kind of the interesting thing would be to kind of have these wonderful videos, have residents going through them, and then have the video stop and ask the resident, okay, what's the next step here? What would be your next step? And how did it compare to what the surgeon did? And then how are there any anatomical anomalies that you can identify here?
Yeah.
What is the, I mean, there are all sorts of kind of nifty ways you can take something like this.
Rick, I agree. It's coming back to the AI kind of the AI of it all, because it's in 2026, right? I think what you're describing is the transformational opportunities once you have the base kind of information grounded. I want the base information grounded first, but yes, I totally agree.
Sure. And as I say, there are a number of companies that are doing that and doing it successfully.
Fair enough. I still think, Mark, you should, there's an opportunity there for the depth, the Gaussian splat kind of high fidelity capture, right? To me, I still don't know. Maybe, and please prove me wrong. I'd love to learn more. If there's a company that's doing that, I would love to see it, because I think there was a company maybe a year or two ago out in Europe that was focused on spine surgeries and doing I think they had the concept, and they actually created a pretty interesting rig for the spine surgeon to wear to get like a really good POV. But that I don't recall that being depth. I think it was still 180 video at the time.
I mean, I mean, the systems are out there. The question is the number of cameras, or can you do AI infill?
Yeah.
And is that legitimate? And that's why something like the specs leads me to any AI infill. And infill would be for areas of occlusion that you're 18.
Right.
It allows you to reduce the number of cameras. So that's what I see. I'm still keeping a track, because my goal is at some point to be able to, I'm doing a project for someone in 2 weeks where we're capturing sort of a back and forth conversation between two people, and I would love to be able to, and it'll be 360 video, but I'd love to be able to simply go in and put up, 5 or 10 $2,000 cameras, and around that space, capture my key space, making sure I'm capturing the faces, and then have AI infill. And I think that I'm seeing some of that capability start to arise in some of these same things that are building these WebXR worlds.
Yeah.
We're getting closer and closer, and a $30,000 to $50,000 gear kit. I think I'll be able to do it in what I'm conceiving, and then I'll show you guys, and you'll go, oh, that's how it's done.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. We've done it, gentlemen. We've reached the end of the hour. Last words, and we'll do it again in August. I'm going to go counterclockwise. Mark, any final thoughts? Last.
Having fun with Fable, so always heads down over here.
Excellent. Alan, I'm not sure if your connection's any better.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
A little bit. We got tornadoes here. Sorry about that. Mark, I'd like to meet with Mark. We have like 360 productions we're putting in the mobile app. We're doing right now elderly care and dental patients. It's kind of a very persistent form of anxiety.
I'm sorry, Alan. Your audio is.
I want to meet with Mark next month, if possible, Mark.
Yeah. Reach out if you're doing the 360. Yeah. I've done it in 26 countries around the world.
Okay.
And
the editing, you do the editing as well for it all?
Oh, editing, animation. I can fly drones with 360 rigs. I can go underwater. I can do 3D, 360. Those type of things. But I've got a full production company.
I mean, for the record, Mark Lambert, your web camera setup is clearly professionally done. If you look at the four of us, there's clearly one person that actually knows a thing or two about lighting and composition and backgrounds. Although Rick, yours is not bad either. Maybe I'm just calling out.
This is my home.
This is your home. Yeah.
This is where I do my work.
Yeah.
Well, and this is my, for people with ADHD, sometimes I have to blur the background. But no, this is one of my studios. That has all this gear. So yeah, happy reach out, or I'll reach out, Alan.
Yeah. Also for the addiction people, the addiction field that you're working in, I think the MDR can help a lot with processing the trauma that some people have.
Yeah, I'll be happy to talk to you about that. I deep dove on that a few years ago, and so I can fill you in on some of the things that we discovered.
Great.
All right,
I'll
Rick,
reach out.
you got the last word. Closing thoughts.
Great. I just want everyone to have a great rest of July. I do have a question for you, Mark, about the AMXRA YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And are you accepting product videos from
Yeah.
AMXRA?
Of course, absolutely.
So we can send you a video of what we're up to, and you'd be happy to post it. Yes.
Yeah. That shouldn't be a problem. We have to just make sure that it's not too much of an ad. I think, but that being said, I think if we frame it correctly and we can open it up for other members of AMXRA, and sorry, what I mean by ad is I think we just want to make sure that it is a member spotlight, but it's not an endorsement from AMXRA, just because I think that could be a little tricky. Do you know what I mean? Like, in the sense that we just have to figure that out. But yes, that should be a problem.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll send you. I may send you something, and you can either
and it should
draft
be
it, or you can post it.
Well, I think I'm just kind of talking out loud. It's like we just want to make sure that it's something that is open to all members, and we can enable it. But also that I think we just want to make sure it's not like an endorsement without it being an actual endorsement. You know what I mean? Like that's the piece. So when we do like the booth tours, it's really just a booth tour of like inside of an event. So I think what we can do, Rick, and maybe we can try this as a start. We can highlight and just kind of do an overview of like kind of Sierra Medical, and do that as a kind of as part of kind of what we do with AMXRA, is highlight kind of companies in the field. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. I mean, so that would not be an existing video. It would be some sort of new video that, or how
if you have an existing video, we could just send it over. We'll see what we can do.
Yeah, sure. Again, I wanted to just, I was asking, again, because we just rebuilt our mobile application, and I'm just trying to, So
that'd be cool. So we can. So I think what we would do there is maybe we just highlight and we do like we find some time and we'll do the video, and maybe we can even have a brief like conversation or something, interview before to kind of talk about
I was about to say wrapper it.
Exactly.
More,
wrap. Yep. We'll wrapper it, and then like that'd be a pretty cool kind of additional feature. We can also even put it in the feed as well, like the AMXRA member feed, just to kind of highlight some of like the work that's happening. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll send you a video, and then you can tell me what else I need to do to scrub it, sanitize it, whatever makes the most sense. Yeah.
All right. Excellent.
Okay.
And I will say it's rather interesting when you search AMXRA on YouTube. A lot of your videos are in there, but then there's some it's YouTube.
Yeah, the acronyms are pretty interesting. I remember doing that on I guess now it's called X, and AMXRA is one of the first things that points up, but they're just like individuals with that.
I would not have thought it.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, anyways, thank you all, and see you on the feeds, and see you in a month.
Yeah, great to see you guys. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye.